All right, so suspended ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule insists he has been suspended by the governing party because of a political witch hunt. He's taken the ANC to court tomorrow to challenge his suspension. This, of course, after he failed to step aside after he'd been charged with corruption in connection with the controversial Free State asbestos project, this during his time when he was Premier of the Free State. Well, Siphamandla Goge joins me from Parys in the Free State for more. Siphamandla, good evening. We watched your interview with Ace Magashule, and once you cleared your way through all the metaphors like flying like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, the tennis ball, the fit is the fiddle, what else would say? Oh, the flying eagle. What actually did he say about the court matter?
The gist of it is that he's ready for tomorrow. His court matter starts tomorrow at the South Gauteng High Court, at the division of the High Court sitting in Johannesburg. So the gist of it all, besides Ace Magashule being Ace Magashule, of course he had to project an image of an overconfident Ace Magashule. He's fighting politically and legally, so there was no way he was going to say he is not okay. So he had to project that image of someone who's in charge, someone who has got the situation under control. So, but the gist of it all is that he says he's ready for tomorrow. He is doing it in the best interest of the ANC members. That's what he told me. He says this is not about him fighting for his rights here. He is doing it in the best interest of ANC supporters. But many people will say, well, his actions are likely going to divide the already weakened ANC here. He says he is not the one who brought this. Those people who decided to suspend him should have thought about the impact this is going to have. I can tell you that based on what he told me, it seems as if Ace Magashule sees nothing wrong with him being asked to step aside. In fact, he is adamant that he was not going to step aside. And in his court papers, when you read that affidavit, he is of the view that it should have been the Special National Executive Committee meeting of the ANC, which was supposed to suspend him, not the other way around. So today he spent his day in Paris. Every time he faces these political and legal challenges, he will go back to his roots, and that's where he will reconnect with the masses of the ANC and some structures of the ANC. But today he was not meeting with the structures of the ANC. He was doing his private community work. But I'm told that some people came to pray for him. I did not see them, but there was a church session where he received some prayers ahead of his appearance tomorrow, or ahead of his matter going to court tomorrow. Perhaps let's listen to him and how he says he feels about tomorrow.
It is the ANC which took a decision, because we have always said we must engage issues politically. I've done that. I even wrote a letter to appeal, and we're told that in terms of this Rule 2570, there is no appeal. And in terms of the resolutions of the conference, all of us, we do always encourage our membership, and that's me, to exhaust internal matters. But the Ramakatsa case, and all of us have agreed that if you are finally not happy, what can you do?
Yeah, I suppose what you can do is go to court. So does that mean that he's given up any chance at all of this being politically resolved within the ANC?
Well, he feels that there is still a possibility. He has not closed that option. He is not saying, no, this cannot be politically resolved. But the attitude and the tone that one gets is of Ace Magashule saying, well, you decided to suspend me. I've been reaching out to you saying, let's resolve this politically. So the burden is not upon me now to say, let me reach out again. It's up to you to say, to come to me and ask that we resolve this politically. So he says there is still a possibility that it could be resolved politically, especially bearing in mind that some of his supporters and those who are in his camp have been persuading him, some of them, not all of them, of course, they've been persuading him to say he must withdraw this matter and he must engage politically. Well, he says those who want to engage, there is still that window to engage, but as things stand, he has taken this matter to court, and he wants the court to interpret the conference resolutions of the ANC, particularly the step-aside issue. He's of the view that it was designed to target him. We did put it to him that he's not the only one who's been affected by this. He claims that there is a political conspiracy here to get him out of the way, out of that powerful position of the Secretary General of the ANC. But this is what he had to say about this being resolved politically. Listen to him.
We must engage, and as we engage, we must be political. We must respect resolutions of conference, which is the highest decision-making body. Of course, I can't just, as Magashule, I'm not as Magashule, Secretary General. I can't be known throughout the country if the ANC is not part of me.
It's interesting, of course, because this is a side issue in a way, because the real court challenge is when he goes back to court facing corruption charges around what happened during that asbestos project. But nevertheless, I would imagine this is an important political moment, an important political development. But just to put aside the politics for a moment, I mean, I'm just looking behind you. You always have the most lovely settings when we come to you. But you're in Parys, which is in the Free State. It is Magashule's hometown. It is his stronghold. You say that he's been engaging in community work. But is this, in a way, a bit of a retreat to his place of strength and place of security as this issue plays out?
Indeed, that is correct, and that is how he has done it in the past. You know, as Magashule, every time he has to appear in court, he will come to Parys, he will come to the Free State to regroup. So this is his home political turf, if we call it like that. Many people here speak highly of him. He is still a relevant political player, and he's popular, he's famous here in the Free State and in Parys. We are in one of the townships here, and I can tell you that people around here were asking us, what are we doing here? We told them that, well, we're doing a story about Magashule. They say, oh, we heard that he was around giving people food and doing his community work. This is what he will always come here to do. Even if he's busy, he will come to his roots to do that. But he comes here for a retreat and to regroup, so that every time he appears in court, you know, you could in a way say he comes here to reconnect with his roots and with his political base. This is where his support is politically, and he is strong here. And he goes about, you know, he spent the better part of today doing his community work. We even asked to join him in doing that community work. Of course, he didn't want us to be part of that, because he was of the view that when he does that, he doesn't want the media to be involved. He says it's something that he does more often. So people around here speak fondly of Magashule and his contribution, and I can tell you that people here have an interest on what is happening. And some people were saying if it wasn't for COVID-19, they would have gone to Johannesburg, or they will go to Johannesburg tomorrow to support him when the matter is heard in court, because it will be heard over 2 days, which is Thursday and Friday. So every time he faces these legal and political challenges, he will come back home to reconnect, to regroup, and then he claims that this is where he gets his power and strength.
Of course, so you say it's 2 days in court. Magashule himself, I think, is not going to be present. I think that's what he told you earlier. And he says he's confident in the court process, and if he loses, he's definitely going to appeal. Tell us more about that.
Well, he says if the ANC loses, the ANC will appeal. He says if Magashule loses, Magashule will appeal. The legal recourse does, you know, provide that platform for both parties involved here. Anyone who loses, the legal recourse allows for that party to appeal. So this matter is far from over. I can tell you that it's going to play out in the courts of law unless all parties come together and find an amicable political solution. But it seems as if it's too late now. We are only left with few hours before the matter starts, so you can only wait and see what happens. You know, you can only judge the matter after the outcome of the court processes. But as Magashule says, he will appeal should he lose. The ANC, he's of the view that the ANC will appeal. You get a sense that Magashule is implying that the ANC wants him out at all costs. That's what you get when you interview Magashule. But listen to what he said about the appeals processes should he lose in court.
I'm sure if they lose, the ANC will appeal. If I lose, I'm sure I will appeal, because the highest court of the land must actually express itself. If we are able to find each other, myself and the ANC, as a disciplined, loyal member of the African National Congress, we'll sit down and talk.
The
I
ANC
still respect the leadership of the African National Congress. I know what people are actually doing. I know what people are implicating us in. Wrongdoing, corruption, malpractices, murders, and all those things.
All right, well, thank you so much for that reporting. Siphamandla Goge coming to us live from Parys in the Free State. That, of course, is the hometown of Ace Magashule.